Hi, I'm William Stewart, co-founder of Teleios. Welcome back to our verse-by-verse study on the book of Luke. We are in chapter 8. Fascinating story today in the ministry of Jesus Christ, where he where he arrived in the country of the Gadarenes, which is opposite, really, the Galilee region. It's in the area of the Decapolis, 10 Romanized Greek cities to the east of Israel, Palestine, and southeast, this city of Gadana, I believe it was called, of the Gadarenes, was in about southeast, on the southeast corner of the lake, southeast of the lake, I think a few miles. So he's in that region. He went forth into the land. Out from to him came a certain man which had devils, and he basically lived in the tombs. He was naked, and when he saw Jesus, he cried out in a loud voice, "What do I have to do with thee, Jesus, Son of the Most High? Don't torment me." This is verse 28. Now, again, we see an instance where the demons themselves recognize Christ as Son of God. The story is repeated also in Matthew 8. We saw this in Luke 4, in Mark 3. It comments that demons often did this. And again, we thought this is for the reason trying to embarrass Jesus, to link Jesus with Satan, to neutralize him and make his ministry ineffective. But it's interesting, they make this profession. They knew he was Son of God, and they knew his mission. So again, it's a way to try to destroy him. Speaking again, also that if the increased demonic activity in the Gospels, we don't see this in the Old Testament, we don't see this in the epistles, where Satan is trying to desperately stop Christ and his mission to stop his resurrection, so he would not be disarmed. Verse 29, for he had commanded the unclean spirit to come out of the man, for oftentimes it had caught him, and he was kept bound with chains and fetters, and he broke the bands and was driven of the devil into the wilderness. So he had been commanded for the spirit to leave before, and he broke his bonds and ran into the wilderness, lived in the tombs. Jesus asked, "What is your name?" And he said, "Legion," because many spirits lived inside of him, I guess, like a legion of Roman soldiers. And they asked him not to send him into the deep, otherwise into the abyss where they would be chained. They wanted to remain free. So there was a herd of swine feeding on the mountain, and they besought him that he would allow them to enter them, and he allowed them. And when the devils went out of the man, they entered the swine, and they immediately ran down into the lake and drowned. That's verse 33. So why did Christ allow them to do this and run into the lake? What happened to the demons? Well, we don't know what happened to the demons. They probably were set free to roam and maybe enter somebody else. I think why did Christ allow them to enter the swine instead of sending them to the deep? We don't know that he sent any of them into the deep in other stories. And perhaps it was a way to double show his power, that he would not only relieve the man of the demons, but had the power and authority to send them into pigs. Perhaps it also shows the value of man over animals, and that one man was worth many animals. So we don't know exactly. I think it probably was mostly a demonstration of his power. 34, and when they had fed him and saw what was done, they fled and went and told in the city and in the country. Otherwise, the people went back and spread the word of what had happened, and they went out to see what was done. And they came to Jesus, found the man out of whom the devils were departed, sitting at the feet of Jesus, clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. They also saw and told them by what means he was possessed of the demons was healed. And the whole multitude of the country of the Gadarenes round about sought him to depart from them, for they were taken with great fear. And he went up by ship and returned back again, basically to where he had come, supposedly across the lake in Galilee. Now, so they were very afraid. Perhaps this was also a great economic loss of all these pigs? We're not sure about that point. Now the man out of whom the devils departed sought him that he might be with him. And Jesus sent him away, saying, Return to thy own house, and show the great things of God that thou hast done unto thee. And as he went his way and published or reported throughout the whole city how great things Jesus had done to him. So he used him for a mini missionary movement. So what do we learn from this study? Well, again, it's part of the presentation of Christ as Messiah. Now, casting out demons was not predicted in the Old Testament, like healing. I think that's because there wasn't this type of demon activity. People would not have known how to relate to that or even look for it. But it's there. So he had power over the demons, over disease, over nature. And we see a stark demonstration of this here. Also, we see the attacks to destroy Christ. They weren't just coming from the Pharisees, but coming from Satan himself. Okay, Christ is Messiah. He shows it. We'll come to another great miracle next time. Please join me then.